So first we usually say a tefillah that hopefully, amen, that our learning should be Beit Kashrut in connection to all the true tzaddikim that are alive and all the tzaddikim that have passed away. Befrat Rabbeinu HaKadosh Tzaddik Yisod Olam Nachal Nevei Makor Chachma Rabbeinu Nachman Ben Fege Zochutam Yagenu Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael Amen. So we're entering this period that is known as Bein HaMetzarim, and it also happens to be the period like right in the summer. It's a very tricky period. There's a lot of distractions. There's a lot of like nisyonot, tests that a Jew has to go through, especially us that we live over here, in America, in Artzot Abrit. It's mamash. The truth is all over the world, but like in our times, like we see that unfortunately the levels of modesty has just declined like rapidly. Mamish, like to what it was like 15, 20 years ago. It's like it's like a different world. And day by day these levels are sort of like diminishing. So as a Jew to survive, Bisman is that we need real advice. We need real strong advice that could touch the core of our soul, and that can give us fuel. How to survive these battles. So this Sefer Meshivas Nefesh really was dedicated to that. It was sections that were taken from the works of Rabbi Nachman of Breslov and Rabbi Nassan, his student. All really pieces, teachings that were taken that speak about chizuk, that speak about strengthening one's soul. What different types of advice, what we can have in order to be strong, to be real like chayalim, to be real soldiers, bisman hazeh. And there's two specific ones that are very famous. There's Mem Aleph and Mem Bet. So we'll start with Mem Aleph, and we'll see how much we can go. Okay, so he starts off like this. Ha'ikar hu Emuna. The ikar of everything, right, that we have to live on is Emuna, right? Faith in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Emuna, knowing that Hashem is our King, that He's with us. And he says, Rabbi Nassan over here says that Emuna is Shehu Bechinat Shabbat, is an aspect of Shabbos. Shabbos Kodesh is hinting to Emuna. Why? Ki kol zman sheyesh lo Emuna, because the whole time that a person has Emuna, bevadai yashuv el Hashem yisbarach be'emes. For sure, he would return. He would seek to do tshuva, to come close to Hashem in truth. The whole time that a person has Emuna, he believes in a HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he would seek that in every aspect of his being, that I have to return this to Hashem. Ve'al kain, therefore, a person has to strengthen himself al yedeze, through this, ba'atzmo, meaning within himself. He has to give himself chizuk. What does that mean? Dahainu al yedei masha bal davar v'asitra achar rotze lapilo chas v'chalila. In this fact that the bal davar, which is referring to the Yetzer Hara, the sitra achar, the side of impurity, Rotze, desires very much. Hapilo chas v'chalila, it desires to throw down a Jew, chas v'shalom. Al yidei zeh ba'atzmo yechazek et atzmo. From this in itself, Rabbi Nassan says, from the fact that the Baal Davar, that the Yetzer Hara in itself is after me he's trying to get me to fall, I can be mechazik myself. How? Ki habal davar mitnakel benafsho la'apilo b'chol eit machmat shemachnis belibo shepagam v'kilkel kol kach ad she'i efshar lo od lashuv v'latakin averos u'pegamim ke'elu. Let's see, what's the philosophy of the Yetzer Hara? What's the philosophy of the Baal Davar? He tries to enter into the heart of a Jew that he is ruined so much. He's made so many blemishes in his life, spiritually. He's, destroyed towers that he once built, let's say, until that he could put in one's heart that it's almost impossible to return and to fix these averas that one's done. Right? He puts this like kavana like into one's head that there's no way back. It's over. You might as well just throw in the towel. Just give up. Ubifrat kefi ma sheyesh anoshim be'emes kilku harbe me'od. He says specifically, amongst people that have, in truth, they have, done a lot of damage, right? Whether to themselves, to their souls, spiritually, to people around them, let's say. This is something that everyone knows in his own heart what he's done in his life, what he's ruined in his life. She'avru averos rabos, that it could be that a person has transgressed many averas, many, and not only averas, but rabos gadolos, great ones, serious sins, severe sins, v'chamuros, and not only once, twice, but yamim v'shanim harbe rachmana litzlan. It could be that this person has been habitual in these sins for days, maybe years in his life. Rachmana litzlan. So the Yetzer uses that fact, it's true, person sinned a lot, to put a sort of, to put that in one's heart that you've ruined so much, you can't even begin to fix. The road to repair is so far. It's like you're not going to get to the destination. I've had people in my life tell me that, like straight up, like kids I talk to. You know what I mean? Like it's fine. Like they're young, but it's like they have this like old philosophy. Like they're like Rabbi. I'm never gonna be like the Baal Shem Tov. Let's just face it. What's the point? First of all, like I was like, dude, who says that like you have to be the Baal Shem Tov? Like that's
Wait, that's not what we're starting with?
It's like like bolts of lightning. That's A. Like the famous story with Reb Zusha, like when Zusha comes up to Shemayim, they're not going to be like, why wasn't Zusha like Moshe Rabbeinu? Like, why wasn't Reb Zusha like, Reb Zusha, he was, there was two Talmidim of the Maggid. One they call him like the Rebbe Rub, like a double Rebbe title. So the Rebbe of Zusha and the Rebbe of Melech. There were two brothers, and they were both Talmidim of the Maggid of Mezrich. So Reb Zusha always used to talk upon himself like in the third person. He used to say, Zusha's ready to eat. And the Gabe would be like, okay, I guess he's ready to eat. He would always like talk to himself like. So then he says, Zusha says, that when Zusha comes up to the heavens, they're not going to ask Zusha like, why wasn't Zusha like Moshe Rabbeinu? Why wasn't Zusha like the Baal Shem Tov? They're going to ask, why wasn't Zusha like Zusha? That's like an earth-shattering statement, Be yourself. Be the best you could be. Whatever capabilities Hashem's given you. You know what I mean? Also, like, let me give you another example. Like, unfortunately, it's happening in America. Like, the type of mentality gets sunk into people's heads, especially if they, they go into the yeshiva system, that unless they're like, like on top of the shiur and they're the best guy that's chopping like the questions in Tosfos and like bringing out svaras to the Rebbe, svarot to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe's like, wow, that was such an amazing thought. I have to restructure the shiur because of that. Unless if you're not doing that, if you're not in that like top 5%, then you're a loser. God forbid. It's like such a crazy thing. Like there's people I like. I sat. Like I go Shabbos. I daven in certain places. First of all, as a Breslover, like if sometimes when you daven in different places, people notice you sometimes because, unfortunately, sometimes in a lot of places there are not so many people that are really davening. Then they're like, "Whoa, this guy's mom is really davening." So sometimes, like neshamas come to talk to you because they see you're a davener. So this guy, a really hardcore Hasidic guy. He started talking to me, who are you, where are you, I told him, I teach and this, that. I told him I'm a Rabbi in Yetzer Academy. He said, you teach Gemara, come sit down. This guy looked so hardcore Hasidic, you wouldn't believe. He sits down, he's like, I don't know what to do. He's like, I don't know how to learn. He's like, I wish I could do Daf Yomi. I can't, I was making a scene that Shabbos. He was like, wow, I was like, so what can you do, Who says you got to do Daf Yomi, Like so he says, you know what? I could tell, like in the art scroll, every daf, every amud, every side of the Gemara has like 4 pages to it. You know what I mean? Because it's translated on the English side with footnotes, and it's, the English is a lot more, it explains it a lot more than like in the Hebrew. So he says, I could do like one of these pages, meaning like a quarter of like a side of a daf. Yeah. So I said, you know what? Okay, there you go. That's your Daf Yomi. It's a Daf of the art scroll. Why not? Like, it's gotten in our heads, like, we gotta be like a certain way. Who says? Remember the story, there was a turkey who thought he was a rooster. Yonatan said a story, really like trippy story. It's like Prince. I'm sorry, the turkey thought it was a rooster. I was like, whoa, that's like a lot. That's even more trippier than what I'm going to say. I'm sorry, it's a long day.
The Prince of Turkey?
Yeah, the Prince Turkey, right. So there was a prince, he thought it was a turkey. He like sit on the floor, like, naked, and like peck at seeds on the floor. And the king was like beside himself, like, what am I going to do with my kid? Like, he's Amish, like, he's a Mashiach, So then he hires all these doctors, people to come help him. Nothing. He's pecking away. Right. So finally, one wise man says, you know what? I can help him, but you can't ask any questions. You got to let me do my thing. He's like, okay, fine. Go ahead. The guy's like, okay. Comes in the room, takes off his clothes. He sits there, right there next to him. He starts pecking away, and all of a sudden, he gets his attention. Like, who the heck is this guy? Like, right, it's another rooster. It's another turkey, So they become friends, after a while. First they were fighting over seeds, and then they become buddies. And then, to make a long story short, like he goes, like, when they're friends, like he says to him, it's true, we're turkeys, but like, we could still be turkeys and like wear pants, And he was like, yeah. We'd still be turkeys with wear pants. He said, but we're still turkeys. Like, yeah, we're still turkeys. It's like, well, they threw on pants, And then after a while, he's like, hey, still be turkeys and wear shirts, like slowly, until he went step by step. To make a long story short, and he brought in the king. He said, look at your son. He's sitting there with his royal attire, eating like a mensch. It's still a turkey. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? Meaning, you have to realize the only way to help someone spiritually is to realize that, hey, dude, you're cool, you're great, you're okay, brother. You know what I'm saying? You have to realize Hashem has put us in this world with nisyonot, with tests, with such unbelievable struggles. I heard from the tzaddikim that somebody bizman hazeh, I heard in the name of tzaddikim that they said that somebody bizman hazeh, that if he washes properly, he washes Netilat Yadayim for bread, he doesn't talk, he sits down and makes a motzi like a mensch. I heard in the heavens, he has the kedusha. I heard this, but he has the holiness, the status of holiness of the Baal Shem HaKadosh, the Baal Shem Tov. It's crazy. What? Just washing my hands and like.
Did you tell that kid?
That's right, exactly. That's what I was. Exactly. That's because bisman of the tests it's such a darkness out there. I'm going to explain a little bit.
Not a question. It's just like a thing about it. I was thinking like how I used to think like it's crazy how like all these laws we have to do, like everything, like from washing your hands to everything. And I was like thinking the reason, like I see what they say when they mean like, well, it's like these laws have been passed because the times are changing. So like they didn't have to do it back then because they were already on such a high level. But it's almost like in order to like get that level of separation, just like you have to like separate yourselves from everything, just to get that.
Your taivas, you have to hold yourself back, for a few seconds, as opposed to like charging the food without any seichel, It's
that's the only way to tune into that.
100%. And we live in a very instant world. Like instant gratification. Everything's just like quickly. I want to click on it. I want to get it.
But if you think that like you're doing it just because for doing it, it's not going to be like. It's not going to be worth it. It's not going to be good. Like you have to like know
that's
what.
The thing. See, that's what the Yetzer puts in your head. The Yetzer puts in a person's head that like, yeah, this is not where you have a long way to go. Look at you. You know what I mean? Look at you. Look at the Baal Shem Tov. Let's get real. You know what I'm saying? You know, and he's got a point. Like he's saying emes, but it's like an emes coming from Sheker. Why? Because the truth is, it's so dark. You know, like we were talking about Rabbi Nachman. You know, we have a tzaddik that has really pretty much like waved the flag, saying, "I'm here to help." You know what I mean? Like he pretty much has said in Chaim Moran, like, I'm the tzaddik.
Wait, what? You're saying that
Chaim Moran is a certain sefer written by Reb Nassan about Rabbi Nachman's life, and he made certain statements in Chaim Moran. Rabbi Nachman, yeah, like really earth-shattering statements, like, you know, like, you gotta be really confident to say that, you know, like Rosh Hashanah, like the whole world depends on my Rosh Hashanah, like, whoa, you know, like, you know, when a person first read that, you know, first you're scratching your head, like, okay, like, who are you? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
He just knew that he was right. Like,
it was like, and he said, like, you know, like, Hashem gave me, like, the gift of knowing what Rosh Hashanah is, like, you know, no one knows it as well as me, so to speak, you know what I mean? Like, he can sweeten the judgments for the whole world. It's like, it's very powerful. So somebody was saying, you know, okay, so, you know, how come no one else said that? You know, how come, like, you know, Reb Shimon Bar Yochai didn't say that, you know. I mean, he also said very powerful statements, but he didn't say that, you know. So then I said, you know what, let me just ask you, in the times of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, did they have iPhones? You know, did they have internet? Were they bombarded with tabloids and distractions and preachers and this? It was a different world. These days we're so confused. I'm telling you, I walk in the street like the average guy, he's like on his phone. It's as if he's like drunk, he's like in his own world. Everyone's like a zombie in their own worlds. So you need the tzaddik to stand there and be like, hello, I'm here. You know, like come to Uman. You know what I mean? Like you need, it's a different world. You know what I mean? Like the Arizal told Reb Chaim Vital, about 700 years ago, this is in Tzfat, he told him that you should know in the heavens you are considered so holy that you've reached the level in the heavens, the status of a Tana. You know what a Tana is?
The Gemara. No,
in the times of the Mishnah, even before the Gemara.
Isn't Lubavitch the Tana?
What do you mean?
The Rebbe.
Tanya, yeah, it's a special statement. Yeah. So you've reached the level of a Tana, right? Like in the times of the Mishnah, it's like already you're super, like, you know, anyone in the Gemara already that had his name in the Gemara, they say that he had to have the ability to do Techiyas HaMesim. He could bring a dead person back to life. He had to be such a high level of holiness. So this is even before that, right?
I think the hardest thing about like this generation is not so much that like people are saying that like it's everyone, there's so much equality, you know, everyone's like equal, so it's almost like if there's these people and there's these people and then there's the Jews, but like because everyone's so sarcastic about Christianity and very sarcastic about that, so everyone's just as sarcastic about Jews. You know, it's like it's all about it's like a sarcastic type of like, you know, it's like a joke. You know, like we can joke around about it. You know, that's, you know what I'm saying. It's not like people are persecuting us, but like they are, but in the sense that like in order to fit in, we let them joke about the fact that we don't have to be like those Jew people that like.
Right, but what Reb Nassan's saying is that it goes further. He's like, you have a persecutor inside of yourself. An old psychology.
Right, that's what I'm saying. The whole
Yetzer Hara himself is attacking.
Unless you're part of that, because if you're not, if you disagree, it's like you're some bad person. You're not laughing around with everyone else. Like it's like you're laughing around. It's all good. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Here, in any case, just hear this word from Nari. So he told Reb Chaim Vital, he said that you're a Tana. You're considered, no problem. You're considered the holiness of a Tana. So then he said, Rabbi, let's get real. I'm not a Tana. I'm like, why would I have such a holiness? He said, He said you should know because there's such a choshech, there's such a darkness in the earth, that therefore, one mitzvah has so much more power, just like a candle is so much more powerful in a dark room as opposed to, if in broad daylight you walk out the street with a candle and people look at you like you're nuts, like what's he doing? But if it's like a blackout and you have a candle, everyone's like, whoa, this guy's special. So he says, since there's such a choshech, there's such a darkness after so many years of being in exile, and therefore you're considered through your mitzvah that you're doing on your level, you're considered in the heavens as holy as a Tana. So then Rav Moshe Wolfson, he's Shlita, he's a Rav in Bar Park. He learns Pnimius Torah. So he explained. He's like, wow. He's like, let's just look at that. Let's analyze that. He's like, that was the Arizal telling Reb Chaim Vital 700 years ago in Tzfat. 700 years ago in Tzfat. Now, who's walking around in Tzfat? You had people like, in the Minyan, you had people like, the Bet Yosef, Rabbi Yosef Cairo. He was like another guy in the Minyan, like the Al Shich HaKadosh. You had like, the Ramak or Moshe Cordovera. So you had special tzaddikim, and like he said, there's such a darkness. There
was a darkness.
So right, and imagine how much more so now for our times. What the Arizal would say, what's going on now? It's crazy. We have to know. Hashem has picked every single one of us to be like soldiers on the front lines. Like we're not like we're like commandos. You have to know. You have to realize Hashem believes in us so much. He has such confidence. He's like, these are like the heavy duty troopers. I'm gonna send them in this darkness. You have to realize that.
Rabbi, I'm aware that the modesty as well as what goes on the internet and how we're affected by it because we allow ourselves to be. But in past generations before we had the internet, wasn't it that there was a lot of immodesty amongst the Goyim, and were we affected then, or were we? Was it aside from the internet and so on and the new technologies that bring it on?
The difference was, back then, there was stuff amongst the Goyim. Maybe there was immoral activity right amongst the Goyim, but the difference was that it was clear that a goy is a goy and a yid is a yid. There wasn't that much like you lived in Jewish shtetls. Let's say in the times of
there were no people coming back. There were no people not doing mitzvahs, so that there could be Baal Tshuvas back then. There was
on every level. The truth is on every level. There's Baal Tshuvas.
In past generations.
We learned from Rabbi Nachman Tshuva
because
is
you
the
just
way.
said the Jew was the Jew, and you knew because he was doing mitzvahs, and the Goy was the Goy because it was obvious.
Right.
But I'm saying then there must have been people not one second. But then there must have been people not doing mitzvahs if there were Baal Tshuvas back then also.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
The difference is that a person always needs chizuk, and he always has life's like a roller coaster. There's ups and downs. He has ups, he has downs, but the downs weren't questioning your very essence of who you are. Now, Bisman Hazeh, that does that a little bit.
So does that mean that the only Baal Tshuvas back then were real Baal Tshuvas who were born from and were
I'll tell you,
going back and going out of mitzvot and coming back?
I'll tell you, that's I don't want to get lost in the terminologies, because Baal Tshuva means really anyone that on any level he does tshuva, he's considered a Baal Tshuva. But I think you more mean on the way we use these expressions, B'zman Hazeh.
Right. That's
so
what I'm talking about.
It could be that it wasn't like it is now. It wasn't like it is now. People that lived in the shtetls, unless you got to, and you had to be careful. In some of these townspeople from the Maskilim, when that started in the times of Rabbi Nachman, was getting big. But before that, it was pretty much, Judaism had to do with either you were in the yeshivas and you were learning, or at a certain point you felt that okay, I've learned enough and now it's time to work. Or you can have, if you weren't as capable, then you would go more into commerce and this, that, and unfortunately, what was happening at a certain level, like the yeshivas, that was becoming more like the elite students, and then there was a lot of simple Jews that were becoming more ignorant of the Torah and the connection in Judaism. That's why Hashem sent the Baal Shem Tov into the world to help those souls. But to make a long story short, that it was a different battle. It was a different battle entirely. You know what I mean? What were you exposed to? You know, you lived in a shtetl in Europe. You know, you get up, you know, to the sound of the rooster. You know, you go, you grab your talis katan, you run to minyan. You know, life was simple.
It really, like you said, like I think that, like you said about like kind of questions like the essence of who you are. Like it's like really like, yeah. It's like hard on like a different level. It's like a
completely different level. You know, the Yetzer Hara comes with so many different manifestations of imagination, that what's okay, what's considered okay. We're being bombarded in different mentalities, and you could be like this, and that's fine. You know, who says that's fine? You know, it's the Yetzer Hara that's telling me that's fine. Maybe it's not fine. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm supposed to be striving for something deeper, a deeper connection with Hashem. You know, a lot of people, let's say, for example, in America, you know, they suffer from this thing that they're omed on a certain madrega, and they say that this is the level that I want to be on, and that's it. I don't want to grow. I'm good for the rest of my life. I want to stay on this level. I don't need to move on further. You know what I mean? That's a big, according to Rabbi Nachman, that's pretty sick. Because in Judaism, really, the truth is either you're moving up or you're moving down. There's never like, I'm just pausing. Because you're constantly being thrown at things.
I remember a teacher in Ezra said, if you are stopping at your level, you've decided to
quit.
Then you are going. No, not to quit, but to pause and just to do exactly what you're doing and not go forward. You're going to continue to keep Shabbos and continue to keep kosher and be at your level, and that means you are going to go down if you don't keep going forward.
Exactly.
I think it's almost like how like you keep Shabbos. Like I feel like the people that go, like let's say you say you're going to stay on a certain level, like, you're going to keep Shabbos, keep kosher. I feel like you're gonna either the Shabbos is gonna take you, like you're gonna really like just start feeling, and then you're. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is a conscious thing, like that you have to.
I'll tell you. You're right. You're right. Even in the world of Shabbos, you can't compare the levels, you know, like that one can reach when he learns what the inner meaning of Shabbos is, and he tunes in. It's like almost like a certain music you hear. Shabbos is a certain like melody, and the more you come closer to that melody, the more it can enchant you and take over you, and that can penetrate into your neshama and the people around you. It's unbelievable. And like I was with tzaddikim in Eretz Yisrael. Like watch them, just being around them, just how much Shabbos had permeated every molecule of their being. It was amazing. You know, it was one of the Biala Rebbes he used to hang out with a little bit. He was just at his table, the mom's adorable. He was like this cute little like Rebbe, like, you know, a little bit on the portly side, you know. Used to like his gartel would drop every now and then. He would like pick it up. He'd be like, as he picks it up, he'd be like Shabbos Kodesh. He'd like go like this, you know. Like always like Shabbos Kodesh. Like this little like he was mamish like a fireball. It was amazing. He was like completely his kiddish. He was about to explode. I literally thought he was gonna explode. He was like red like a pomegranate. You know what I'm saying? Like he was mamish. Like he was like he was like, I was like, I couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? Like there's such a thing. Like you could be engulfed in Shabbos Kodesh. The levels you have to realize. Like it's mamish. Like it's a ladder. Judaism is like this unbelievable ladder. But however, when we're going up this ladder, all of a sudden we could miss a step, and Hashem Yerachim, we could fall, like, you know, fall far down. So now what? So Rabbi Nachman comes in now, and he's like, okay, you know what? You fell. Okay, now what? So because right now you have a whole school of philosophy that just opened up inside of your head, and it's called the Yetzer Hara. And he's screaming his philosophy, and you saying, oh, you fell, look at it, you loser. You know, you have so much, you have so far to go back. So how does one, and which is, I want to come back to this, what the Nakuda, how does one counteract that, right? He's saying that, you know, specifically people that have fallen so far, they've sinned habitually, day in, day out, for years, Rahman al-Itzlan, how can one counteract that? It says, V'yesh shekavar, not only that, there's some shekavar hitchilu, the last page on Pei Gimel, right? V'yesh shekavar hitchilu kama pa'amim. There's some people that have started many times, b'tshuva uv'avodas Hashem, in doing teshuva and serving Hashem, v'achar kach naflu kamosha naflu, and then they fell, you know, like Rahman al-Islam, they fell really bad. Kol echad ve'echad kefina filasa Rahman al-Islam, everyone according to his level of the way he fell. right? And we've all fallen. Va'al kein, therefore, machnis abal davar belibam bechol pam shekavar efes tikvatam. The Yetzer brings in one's heart and tells us that you have no hope. Lefi otzem abadam ela, look what you've done. You've messed up, right? He has a point. Aval be'emes bezeh be'atzmo yochol ha'adam lachayos u'lachazek et atzmo. We have to understand what it means. Ibn Nassim saying, based on Rabbi Nachman, that in truth, in this in itself, the fact that this Yetzer is coming and it's telling you, oh look, you messed up and there's no hope, you can get chizuk from his arguments in itself to give yourself chiyas, to give yourself life and spirituality and vitality. How? The fact that you believe that an avera is a blemish. Like there's something wrong with that. Like the Yetzer comes like, wow, you really messed up. You're like, wow, yeah, I did mess up. Well, I believe that this is considered messing up.
Exactly.
I'm alive. I'm spiritually alive. You believe that, wow, yeah, I could, like through this act, I could be blemishing the upper worlds, right? Im kain yesh lo Emuna. So if that's true, Rabbi Nassim says that shows that you have Emuna. You still have Emuna, and since you have Emuna, which is the most vital ingredient, bevada yesh lo tikva believe safek. So for sure you have hope, without any doubt. Ki ma'achar shu mamin, since that he believes sheyacholim lekalkel, that he can ruin. He believes that, wow, I ruined. Yeah, it's true. Bevada yecholim letaken gamken. So for sure you can fix now also. It's all the nekuda of Emuna. It's all that nekuda of Shabbos. If you have that, you have everything. If you don't have that, there are people in the street, they don't believe. They're like, you know what? Well, who says there's anything wrong with this? That's a level of hiddenness within hiddenness. They don't even know that they're lost. At least you know that you're lost. Rabbi Nassim is saying you have a pulse, you're alive, you have a Emuna, you have a Jewish heart. Do you know how precious that is? It's rare. Try to search for it in the streets. It's not so common. Okay, Baruch Hashem, you got in hills, you have more chevra, but I'm saying in general, it's rare. Kizeh Yadua, and now he opens up a discussion. He says, I want to see what you guys think about this. He says, Kizeh Yadua shapi korsim u'mechaker me'eno ma'aminim klal. He says that it was very common that was starting back then. Unfortunately, movements in the Haskalah, people that were like trying to disprove the Torah, they would like learn it like the Shema, like on Shabbos, like learn it and like smoke cigarettes, like intense, that they don't believe. That's the main nekuda. That's the difference. They might be learned, but they don't believe klal at all. They don't believe that with an avera you ruin anything in the upper spheres. So what they do is that they give really like low grade reasons and ideas, philosophies behind the reasons for the mitzvahs. The reason why we have to keep this. The reason why Jewish people do this is because back then the reason why you have to do Brit Milah is back then diseases were much more prone and it was like a health thing to do Brit Milah, and these days since we don't have that it doesn't apply. It's like what So all these ideas that Apikorsim develop comes from the Nakuda of not believing. If you don't believe in Torah's Moshe, you don't believe that Hashem gave the Torah to Moshe, and you don't believe that it's all divine, that has it's all these mitzvahs that we have are like channels how we're connected to the upper worlds, then you could rationalize it anyway. You could interpret the Torah, in any kind of way you want. Aval anachnu, but us, Am Kadosh, the holy nation, Sha'anu Ma'aminim, that we believe, Sha'avera Chas V'Sholom Hi Pegam Gadol, we believe that an Avera is a blemish, is a serious violation, and it has effects in the upper worlds. Right? We have to know that. So now the Yetzer Hara takes another side. So he sees that you believe in this, so he wants to use that to drop you. Oh wow, you messed up in the higher worlds. Like it's like, we say in Marav, save me from the Yetzer Hara milfanenu macharenu. Save him from like in front of me and behind me. Why? Because in front of me, he wants to try to like get me to do the Avera. Oh, forget it. What Torah? Do me a favor. Just relax. It's all good. Just go for it. And then after you do the Avera, then he comes back. It's not like he like pats you on the back. All right, buddy. No, he like comes like wow, look what you did. You messed up. Now you want to daven. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Like the logic. So it's like before and after. So he says, "V'hu adarabba al yedei ze ba'atzma roi lo lechiyot." That's what Rabbi Nosson is saying. You have to be smarter than that. Fight his like cunningness, and you be even more cunning. Why? Right, to anticipate, like to anticipate it exactly. Be aware, be alert. Where, like when these thoughts are coming in, you be like, detect it and counteract it. That with this philosophy that he's coming and he's saying that look, you messed up. So I'm going to give myself chizuk now. I'm going to say, wow, ma'achash yesh lo Emuna, that I have Emuna. It's true. Like I hear what you're saying, so that must mean that I do have Emuna. Ki ikar kavanas abal davar shuhu sherotz lapilo oto kol kach ad sheyapil oto lekafirus gemuras. Because really, what he's trying to do is to get you to fall so far that you come to be a kofar, to deny spirituality entirely. Just throw in the towel. That's what he wants. Shiur my leis din v'leis stein. He wants to get you to the point to be like, there's no judge, there's no judgment. Like that's what the level he wants you to get to. You could stop him in his tracks. It says Hayom. Chazal say this. Rabbi Nosson is not making this up. It says that Hayom Omer Lo Aseh Kach. He said today he tells you to do like a small sin, right? And every day a little bit more. Until he tells you go and worship idols. It's a big deal. Just worship an idol. It doesn't mean anything. That many people became weak in our times as we see that they've fallen, unfortunately, because of these tactics, because of this philosophy of the Yetzer Hara. Okay, and therefore, a person has to be smart, he has to be cunning, he has to perceive, right? He has to have compassion upon his soul, upon his life, and strengthen himself, in any way you can, however you are, however it could be you've done, whatever sins you may have done, whatever you think you've ruined, fine, so be it. But nevertheless, we can give ourselves chizuk now. We could begin again now. That's one of the foundations in Rabbi Nachman. We could start again now. You can give yourself chizuk right now, right? From the fact that you have faith in the Master of the Universe. You believe that you are a believer, and you believe that the Torah is true. And not only that, and you also believe that a sin is a severity, right? Because the fact that you have Emuna, that means you have hope. That's the Nakuda. Emuna is the gate for hope. And therefore, for sure, you will come to fix, Rabbi Nachman says. It's a promise. If you have faith and you're a searcher, then you will come to fix everything you've done. Because that's the essence of all of the mitzvot that we have. Like it says, Kol mitzvotecha emuna. All of the mitzvahs is emuna. Like it says. The ikar of a mitzvah is that a person should come to emuna, to believe, to recognize the Master of the Universe, that it is said that He's created the world. And the whole time that a person is attaching himself to this nakuda, to this point of Emuna, the holy Emuna that Am Yisrael has, therefore the gates of hope are open still. Yeah.
What's the Hebrew word for hope?
Tikva. Ki bevada yesh eitzot ke'elu, because for sure that there is advice that how a person can come back really very easily to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and give Hashem tremendous nachas, right? That to serve Hashem in these places, let's say a person falls, but whatever a person does, you should know, Rabbi Nachman has told us many times that how much Hashem has so much delight from someone that's furthest away from him. Just think, the king doesn't desire that only the people around his palace should recognize him. The king has a special delight from people that are further away. He has medinas that are far, far, that over there they recognize the king. There's a special delight the king has from that. We have to realize that the further a person is, there's also someone that says, like we were discussing the Parshas Yisro, why was the Parsha that Kabbalah Torah was given, it was called Yisro, it should be called Moshe. Now of all the names, Yisro is a convert. Specifically because he's a convert, he went inside every single avodah zar, he went inside every single pit and he went to the bottom of it. And then he realized that God's not here, so he went again. He was given the title of the Parsha that the Torah was given. Why? Because we have to have that quality to realize that no matter what pit we fall into, that we're going to find Hashem, we're going to start again. I could be at the bottom of the pit, I don't care, I'm going to start again. That's a prerequisite for Torah. That is what a Jew means. A Jew has that spark, like David HaMelech, that never, no matter how much I've fallen in darkness, I'll not fear. Right? Lo yirara ki ata imadi, you're with me. Hashem, you're with me. I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna find a path, how to come close to you. That through this, if a person has Emuna, then he has tikva, he has hope, and he will be zoche and mirz Hashem to come back to the truth. And you should know, since it's a Breslov Shiur where we shouldn't be afraid to say this, that all this strength of hope and Emuna that's generated within each and every single one of us happens to be that it comes from the tzaddik of the generation. In every generation there's tzaddikim, and every few generations there's like a head tzaddik that keeps Am Yisrael sort of nourished until the next light. So Rabbi Nachman in his time, he said that he is a new revelation, and right now, so it seems according to Breslov ideology that we're getting this Emuna that's triggering off inside of us is directly linked to Rabbi Nachman Breslov, to this tzaddik ha'emet. That until we can tap into that, and it's all from that strength, until we can be zocha to do tshuva, and that's something that actually Rabbi Nachman said. It's a very, very intense statement, but he says a thought of tshuva that anyone has in the world is linked to him. Anyone. That means some guy that's Litvish, that's davening 5 blocks down, he has a thought of tshuva. He's connected to Rabbi Nachman Breslov. Okay, he might not recognize Rabbi Nachman Breslov, but he's connected to him. We're all connected to the tzaddik. Rav Arush recently came out with a very strong statement. He was in the middle of the Shiur. He's like, I'll tell you, if you're not connected to the tzaddik, nothing means anything. It's like such a earth-shattering Shiur. Like my friend of mine heard that. He's not so Breslov, this friend of mine. He heard it, he's like, wow, how could you say that? It's not worth anything. You know what I mean? Like it's intense. You have to realize everything comes from the tzaddik, the tzaddik. The tzaddik is like the heart of the Jewish people. And we're all like veins, we're all connected to this tzaddik. It's like a generator. Baruch Hashem, we're zochen in our circle to recognize, who the tzaddik is. Everyone's searching, everyone's running around trying to realize. But the point is over here, Rabbi Nachman gives eitzes to us for our time specifically. So somebody came to Rabbi Nachman and says, yeah, but about this thing, didn't the Baal Shem Tov say like this? So Rabbi Nachman said, okay, that's true. But I say it like this. Meaning Baal Shem Tov was that light at his time, but now I'm the revelation. It's okay. It's not like a problem. You know what I mean? Like in certain Hasidus, everything has to fit in to the tzaddik before. In Breslov it doesn't have to be like that. Because in Breslov we believe it's a new light. Like Moshe Rabbeinu, right? He was the new light, he was the tzaddik that all of the Jewish people were connected to, and if we wanted to connect to Hashem, it was through Moshe Rabbeinu. We couldn't just drop the tzaddik. Right, there was a person that tried doing that. His name was Korach, right, and then he was dropped, but pun intended, But I'm saying, like, the point is, so we all need the tzaddik. We can't just drop the tzaddik. So later it was Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. And the whole world was connected to Hashem Rachai. It was in his merit that the world continued to exist. And then the Arizal came. The Arizal that made Chidushim, the derech of Kabbalah, how to connect to Hashem. You know, the Baal Shem Tov that came later that taught that how the Devekis, the world is supposed to be attached to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in such a beautiful way, in such a sweet way. And Rabbi Nachman that's coming in with the Eitzes right now, what we need for day-to-day activity, how to battle with the Yetzer Hara, and how to realize that we always have hope. And Ein Shum Yerush Ba'olam Klal, that which is the main thing. There's never despair, never think that it's lost. We, as people that's connected to Rabbi Nachman, I'll tell you, brothers, we have to have this so much in our veins that not only for our own lives that it's pushing. Even if we fall and we do an avera, we bounce right back and we're like, okay, nope, like right away. We have to have it as like a jump start already pre-programmed. But to others also, we share this with our fellow brothers, our families. You know, anyone that messes up, we get right back up. You know, that's the light of the tzaddik, Emuna. Because even if the Yetzer is screaming in your head, you ruined, look what you did. You're like, that's true. I believe in ruining. That means I have Emuna. That means I have hope. It's like you have to be able to tackle the Yetzer. You have to, it's mamish. You have to have the tools. It's a very psychological thing over here. I don't know if you realize. And people go through this every day. A lot of people are not open in davening because of this. It's like it's stuffed them up. The Yetzer has convinced them. It's like, oh, listen, you just stay like this. You're not zochet to be such a big dominant. Yeah, this is you. Like have your cupcake and enjoy it. This is you. No, forget that, bro. I'm gonna shoot for the stars. Or the tzaddik says, come on, you can mamish. Don't settle for mediocre. Oh, just be a mediocre guy, pat on the back. Okay, you do a little mishnah here and there. No, like pound Torah, pound Tehillim, scream, go into the woods, scream Abba, do whatever you need to do to get help. The main thing is have Emuna and be connected to the tzaddik. And Hashem, we should all be zocheh. Yisrael Hashem, that we should be connected to the source of Emuna and Simcha. We should be zocheh to be connected to the tzaddik. And Yisrael Hashem should all grow and never let the Yetzer Hara pull us away from Hashem even one day in our lives.
Amen.
At this point, guys, I want to say if you guys, sorry, my hands are wet. If you guys want to do like any plans for Uman, anybody wants to